here, so you know about Uncharted. You know, the first one, Nate, Elena, Sully, after El Dorado, gonna find some gold. Not gonna kiss the end, gonna tease us with that one because they're a bunch of jerks. But now we're here. Obviously, October 13th is right around the corner. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. Give it up. I'm assuming most of you have already played on the floor, played the beta. You already know it's awesome. It's probably gonna kick the crap out of everything else this holiday season. But we're here to talk about it. And for me personally, the one thing that draws me into this franchise, you know, it looks great. It's got a great soundtrack all the time. It's really engaging in the gameplay, but what gets me and hooks me is the story and the characters and the way they emote. And that's strictly what we're here to talk about today. So without further ado, let's get the people out here who make the game and not just me who bitches about everything in it.
Nolan and I think, decided in the first week that we were twins separated at birth. So talk about a soft place to land. I've lucked out with all my leading men in my career, and Nolan is no exception. He's been an incredible source of entertainment, but he's an amazing... people know how fun he is to work with, but the other thing that's worth mentioning is that he's, and I'm sure it comes through in the game, and you guys probably worked it out for yourselves, but he's incredibly gifted, and I'm a very lucky girl to be working with him.
This is my twin separated at birth, which means I have to say, she's incredibly gifted.
Yeah.
No, you know what? Thank you for that. But to be able to work with this cast and a few of the other people who weren't here today, Richard McGonigal, who's Sully, and Graham McTavish, who is in the latest game as a character. I don't know if I can even say. Yeah, I plays Lazarevich. She's great.
Renee Aubergenois.
Renee Aubergenois, who's done a couple things here and there. No, it was, as this game progressed, like I said, it stopped being the feeling of just another game, and I think that's what the experience for all the players get to be. I mean, to get to work with Claudia and Elena and Robin, everybody, it's been a real joy.
Ooh! You're in trouble, Nolan?
No, I'm not. She doesn't know where I live. And I have dogs, and she finds out. It's okay.
Back to the actors, I mean, from your standpoint, you know, you guys leave these characters as sticks on a screen pretty much, and then, you know, the final game comes out, and it's rendered, and it's perfect, and it's got this, and there's a sweeping score. I mean, Emily, what's your reaction to that when you first saw the first Uncharted, let alone this one?
I had to go out and get a PlayStation. It's just amazing, and I kind of feel silly because I try to tell people about it outside the gaming world, and they'll be like, so what are you up to? What kind of shows are you working on or whatever? And I'm like, well, I'm working on this video game, and people are like, oh, what, how is that?
What went wrong?
How's your career going? Really? Is that all that you... And I'm just like, no, it's really cool. I'll send you the trailer. And they're like, sure, go ahead and do that. Yeah, what happened? But I think my immediate reaction, honestly, as I was telling, actually Nolan, you and I were sitting in the booth the other day, and I said this to you. We were looking at the screen, and I was like, I feel so lucky to be a part of this. Like, it's gotten to be so big and so amazing, and it's so well done that I'm not just doing like a video game. This is an incredible story, and this character has gotten to grow since the first one, and just continues to grow, and we get to do more and more every single time, and it just looks better and better. And I have to play the whole thing on easy, but at least I get to play it. And I keep forgetting whenever I play it again. I'm like, I forgot about that scene. That's awesome. It's one of those games where the whole family sits around and watches the person playing the game because it's so entertaining, and that's just awesome to be a part of.
Do you guys get noticed or recognized? Like, Nolan, are you ordering a cheeseburger and somebody's like, you sound wicked familiar?
Well, not when I'm ordering a cheeseburger, but
what if you were like falling off a cliff ordering a cheeseburger?
a lot of times I run through my neighborhood just doing barrel rolls. Just do things like that. I will kick you to sleep. Things like that.
I think that's what's great about working as a voiceover artist too, as well as on camera, is that you're not typecast, and you can play anything from a giant orc to
which you and I have both done, right?
Yeah, we have
both done giant orcs. I can say there was one time at a GameStop, I was in there buying something for my son, and the guy behind the counter just kind of kept looking at me and just said, is this a good one for kids? He kept, yeah, it's okay. And I thought, this is really awkward. What's wrong with this guy? I'm not kidding. I thought he was stoned. Which isn't unheard of in a GameStop, let's face it. So, finally I just pulled out my credit card and gave it, and he snatches it out of my hand. He goes, I knew it! He threw my card at me. I'm like, what? He's like, you're Nathan Drake, you're Nathan. And he literally went over and took like 6 copies off the thing. He said, you gotta sign these. I'm like, what? He said, just sign these. I'll buy them later. This is for my cousin and my brother. I'm just signing them. And he's like, and as I'm signing them, he's getting his phone. He's taking pictures.
I had a reverse effect at a GameStop. I went there during Christmas and they had the Uncharted, manual. And I went up to the counter and I was like, I did that game. And the guy was like, oh, that's cool. I opened it up and I was like, no, really, that's it. And he looked and he's like, yeah, sure, right. Merry Christmas. And I was like, that's...
Do they have one of those manuals? Because
I do.
Oh, God, I'm so bad at playing me. It's like you'd think you know where the story's going, and you're like, I can't make that jump. And I usually, by 3:30 in the morning, I'm tired of killing myself. And my wife walked in one time, she goes, wow, his expressions, he runs and jumps like, oh. I'm like, yeah. Well, at least you know what you sound like if you die.
Yeah, actually, the first game I would make you die repetitively, just jumping off into the chasm just to say, oh.
I wish you were the first person to tell me that.
We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about a little Uncharted movie we've been hearing about.
Yeah, I don't know how much we can say other than the fact that it is underway with Claudia Pictures and the Arad Productions, the guys that did Iron Man. They've done all the Marvel movies up to now, so it's a great bunch of guys to be teamed with. I mean, these are guys that take these movies seriously. They're not just out to kind of throw something out there. And they love the story, they love the characters. It was nice when we first met with them. They just totally got it. They had really intelligent questions about the story that showed us that they played it and thought about it, and thinking about that adaptation. I mean, of course, everything moves at a snail's pace in Hollywood compared to games, We'll probably have 3 games out before they've got a movie done, but, it's...
Uncharted 3 confirmed.
It's incredibly flattering, to have people of that caliber look at your work and go, no, we don't just like the property, we like the story. We want to keep it just like it is. And it's going to be really fun to work with them. It's nice, again, because we're right in LA, that we can work with them and they really want to keep us at home.
You guys all do great work. The game looks great. The second one looks even better. I want to make a comment about that, though, and a question. In the second one, it looks like the facial animation is a little bit more improved. The eyes, in particular, what did you guys do differently in the eyes and in the face in general from the first game?
I actually tore the skin from Norman's face. It's just your typical iterations that you get with technology. The first game, you reach a point where you get your tech to a certain point, and then you got to just start making the game. And there's these improvements that you want to make, and you'll get to them. So, yeah, we have new shaders, things that define the way the surfaces look for the skin, for the eyes. We actually re-sculpted pretty much all of the characters' faces from the first game. And there's also new facial controls that allow us to get a lot more detail in there.
Can I high five Nolan North, please?
You do what to it?
High five.
I didn't say you could do that. I think you could do it.
You know what? Sometimes you got to ad-lib these things.
Occasionally.
We've been talking about ad-libs for a while, but what were your favorite ad-libs from the second game?
I know what Nolan's favorite ad-lib
I know
was.
what my favorite ad-lib is, but I don't know if they're going to put it in.
I'll tell you what his favorite ad-lib was. Their very first shooting day with Claudia. That was his favorite ad-lib. Because I'd written a scene where it's like, well, these guys, we're just putting them to scene together for the first time. They're supposed to meet up, and I sort of said, and they meet and they embrace. She's like, what if I just jump off the car and wrap my legs around you? And he's like, that would be great.
Don't waste your time. brother. It's really wrong.
Yeah, but I'm from the South. I got a lot of response out of the kick you to sleep. And just there was certain things in there because I just didn't want to go, yeah, take that. Just done. And in this one, I got to set it up. And now when Nate hits somebody or it's a special punch, I hope, and I don't know how they're going to do it. I was playing a game with my he was 8 at the time, 8-year-old son. I can say what it was. It was Wii tennis, whatever. He's a kid. So we're doing this thing, and he's killing me. And finally, bam, 8 years old, he goes right by me, like, ah, and he goes, yeah, kitty got wet. I looked at him and I went, what did you say? And he goes, what? And he thought he was in trouble. I said, oh no, what did you say? He said, kitty got wet. I'm like, what does that mean? Where did you hear that? He goes, I just made it up. It's like, cats don't like to get wet, you lost. And I kissed him, I grabbed him, I kissed him, I said, that's brilliant. The next day I walked in and they threw a punch in one of those ad-lib things and I went, yeah, kitty got wet. 8-year-old little boy. I stole it. It's not dirty. It sounds.
My other favorite ad lib is when you decide to jump over cliffs and walls and balk like a chicken.
Unfortunately, we broke Nolan the other night because we've, the schedule's a little aggressive, and so we've had some 12-hour ADR sessions. And by the end of 12 hours, he's sitting there just pounding his legs, going, "It's so late," like that. Not completely good natured. And we had this one scene which I won't
I had a
describe
lot of chocolate.
because it's at the end of the house. He unwrapped tons of chocolates and shoved them all in at once, laughing like a maniac. So he had this one scene. I can't describe the content that's at the end of the game, but he did the entire thing as a chicken, and it's like there's a lot of running and jumping.
And I really want them to put it in the special.
I think it probably needs to go in the special feature.
That's not going in the game yet.
I think the best line, though, which wasn't an ad-lib at all, which Amy wrote, is in the trailer, I'm Elena Fisher, last year's model. I just think that's such a fantastic line.
Now that worked.
Yeah.
You made it work.
How much of your dialogue was ad-lib?
You can't ad-lib unless you have a good script, a good skeleton to work off.
Just a skeleton. Jesus.
The women on this thing destroy me daily. Robin doesn't bother me. We're buddies. These 2, 3. She's a really good writer. She wrote a good script. Can we get to one last question? Just one person.
Hey, this is for Nolan. I hear you do a mean Christopher Walken.
But you can't use your same old lines. You got to come with new material too.
What?
You can't do them.
They haven't heard it.
Everybody's heard it. No pressure.
Hi. These are my cactuses. I put googly eyes on my cactuses because cactuses are dangerous. Cactuses have prickles that can stab you in your hands, your face, your throat, right? So, googly eyes, eye contact, use the Lord.
Alright, everybody, keep the applause going. This is Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, October 13th.